Imagine this. It's the middle of World War II, and thousands of young German soldiers, captured on the battlefield, are being shipped across the Atlantic to America. They're prisoners of war, or post-day, and they've been told their entire lives that Americans are monsters who will torture and punish them, to brace for the worst as their trucks rumble through the American heartland, deep into farmlands that seem to stretch on forever. But instead of hostility, something completely bizarre happens. America starts to look strangely familiar. The first shock hits when the POWs meet the farmers who will supervise their work. The introductions sound like they're straight out of a village in Germany. "This is Mr. Schmidt. You'll be working with Mr. Muller today. Talk to Mr. Brown about the grain field." The prisoners are stunned. Schmidt, Muller, Brown. These are German names. Names they heard every day back home. Confused, they exchange glances and whisper among themselves. Are we in America, or some lost corner of Germany? The confusion only deepens as they start working in the fields. They notice the older American farmers often use German words without even thinking about it. Small expressions, passed down through generations, slip out naturally. Words like Kartoffel, Donker, Wasser, and Haus. To the German POWs, it's surreal. They've crossed an ocean, fought a brutal war, and now, standing on American soil, they're hearing fragments of their own mother tongue. But the surprises don't stop there. As the prisoners interact with the farmers' families, they see German traditions woven into everyday American life. They recognize the way bread is baked in large, crusty loaves, just like their grandmothers used to make. They see sausages prepared in the exact style of Bavaria or Prussia. They watch Christmas celebrations that include customs taken directly from old European villages. Even the barns and houses in some areas look familiar, built with a distinct German-inspired architecture. For many of these young soldiers, it's like stepping into a strange mirror world. Everything is American, yet traces of Germany are everywhere. So, what was going on? The answer to this mystery stretches back nearly 2 centuries, starting in the early 1700s and continuing through the 1800s. Millions of Germans immigrated to the United States. They settled in places like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Ohio, and Iowa regions that remained heavily influenced by German culture. These communities kept their language, traditions, family names, and even their farming methods alive for generations. By the time World War II erupted, German heritage was so deeply embedded in American rural life that the German POWs recognized it instantly. But beyond the cultural familiarity, there was something else the German prisoners never expected: respect. The war propaganda had filled their heads with images of cruel Americans. Instead, they were treated with a humanity they couldn't have imagined. They received proper meals, clean clothing, safe housing, and were even paid small wages for their farm labor. Some farmers would offer them coffee, fresh bread, or a seat at the dinner table. To the POWs, this kindness was profoundly shocking. One German later wrote, "We thought we would be beaten, but instead they asked if we wanted more food." The American farmers were just as surprised. They expected to see hardened enemies, but instead they found hard-working, disciplined, and polite young men. Many farmers grew to appreciate their skill and dedication. A strange and unexpected sense of mutual respect began to form. Soon, it wasn't uncommon to see a German POW working side by side with an American farmer, talking, laughing, or just sharing tips about farming. As one farmer later reflected, "On the battlefield we were enemies, but in the field we were just men trying to get the work done." As the months turned into seasons, the POWs started to feel something truly unexpected, a sense of home. The American countryside began to remind them of Germany, the rolling hills, the endless green fields, the smell of wheat in the air. Even the sound of church bells ringing across small farm towns felt familiar. For some of these young men, the quiet, peaceful life in an American rural camp felt safer and more comforting than their time had been under the Nazi regime. When the war finally ended and the time came for them to return to a defeated and shattered Germany, many POWs were surprisingly emotional. Despite everything, they had found kindness, familiarity, and even friendship in the very country they had been taught to fear and hate. Some prisoners openly admitted they didn't want to leave. Others made a promise to themselves. One day they would come back to America, and many of them did. In the years after the war, countless former POWs immigrated back to the United States to build new lives. Some even returned to the same towns where they had once worked as prisoners, this time as free men and new citizens. Today, the legacy of German influence in America is still visible in family names, recipes, festivals, and rural culture. The story of the German POWs is a powerful reminder that even in the darkest times of war, our shared humanity can shine through. It shows us that our cultures often overlap in ways we don't expect, and that the people we are told to see as enemies can sometimes feel surprisingly and comfortingly familiar. These young soldiers came to America expecting hatred, but instead they discovered a piece of home right in the heart of their enemy's country. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more.